What are some not so fun facts? I love Tom Segura's bit about the first 48. Here's all I'm saying. I can't tell you where to go. I can tell you where not to go. Wherever they filmed the first 48 on A&E. Oh, if you're not familiar with the show, here's what it is. Camera crews follow real homicide detectives for the first 48 hours after a murder. And the reason that time distinction is so important is that after 48 hours, they give up on that murder. They're like, that's some old shit. What do you want to do today? You're like, how about you keep trying to solve that murder, man? That shit happened on Monday. It's Wednesday. We're not gonna solve that shit. Really? Rabies was a big thing in the Philippines back in the 90s. We had a hospital dedicated for it, and there were so many PSA on TV showing rabies victims tied to bed convulsing, screaming, and foaming in the mouth. It made me not trust dogs for a long time. When I got bitten by a dog, I cried and started saying my goodbyes to my loved ones. My mom was a nurse, so she got me taken care of. That shit is scary. You're more likely to survive almost anything than rabies. Internal decapitation? Yup. Shark bite? Yup. Being hit by a speeding car? Scalped? Or breaking your neck? Yes, rabies is a death sentence. Always, except for those 14 people in all of recorded medical history. Adding because apparently I need to, this only applies if you become symptomatic. I thought this was implied because you don't generally say you survived something that never manifested. Correct. This is why rabies vaccinations for dogs, cats are mandatory in every state. It's not about them, it's about us. Animals are quarantined for 10 days after biting people because that's how long it takes for symptoms to show. That's the lucky animals. BTW. Wildlife or pets either sick or unable to be quarantined are promptly euthanized, decapitated, and the head delivered to a lab to get its brain examined. Male anglerfish are rarely spotted in the wild, and took a long time to find at all. Eventually, they were discovered latched onto the females, and one of them, can't remember if the male or the female, releases an enzyme to break down the male body, leaving only his testes that she can now use when she needs them for babies. The chainsaw was originally invented to aid in childbirth for cutting through the pelvic bone. No, I'm not kidding. The introduction of helmets to the military actually caused a surge in head injuries. This is because those injuries used to be deaths, but now more people were surviving them, albeit injured. I have a small knife concealed in a pen. It just looks like a fancy silver fountain pen, but the back pulls off and is a small stiletto. I flew from New Orleans to New York City and back, with a connection, 4 flights in all, with that pen in my purse without realizing it until I got home. And the TSA agents in New Orleans were complete dicks. They heard my husband complaining about the line to others in our party and started to yell at him for complaining, then took the 2 of us aside for an extra search, just to be dicks because my husband was complaining, and they still did not find this accidentally concealed weapon. My faith in the TSA is a 0 on the scale of 1 to 10. They are not keeping us safer. They only exist at this point to obstruct travelers, to fool people into thinking something is being done related to safety. Yep, and apparently the common ruse used to move a dead passenger into the morgue undetected is to throw a sudden ice cream party in the middle of the day. Everyone shows up for the free ice cream, and the corpse is then wheeled down the hall. This ruse is not actually practiced in the industry, according to another Redditor below. Not everything you read online is genuine, evidently. Color me shocked. 2. A whole ton of people seem amused at the thought of associating ice cream with death. Yeah, all are as morbid as I am. No wonder I love Reddit. I don't know what this pose is. I've only ever seen anteaters in a zoo. I'll make sure to knock them off my cuddly pets wish list now though. So thanks. Since you might know, why do anteaters need the ability to disembowel a creature twice their size? Don't they just eat ants? Do they also eat bigger things, or is it defense against the bigger things? Now I'm curious, what are their major predators? What are the anteater predators of the world? Oh, Let's talk about medieval torture facts. There's one form of torture where they would tear your tongue out by slowly twisting it. Another, having bamboo grow through your body, stuffing you into a bronze bull statue and then lighting a fire under it. You were slowly cooked alive in the worst way possible. Another, similarly, you were cooked from the inside out. The way one would accomplish this was by pouring molten lead down your throat and stuffing you with straw. Another, one would have a small hole in their stomach cut open, and pull out one end of your intestine and tie it to a stake. You were then put on a cart and carried around the stake in circles while your intestines slowly unraveled. That's all for today, folks. Fact, a year ago my girlfriend had hiccups and I looked her dead in the eye and told her I knew a cure. After a dramatic pause I said anal sex. She laughed hysterically and the hiccups stopped. It's been a private joke since then. To actually see proof that my joke had more than a germ of truth is utterly stunning and even more hilarious. You've made my day. Your body does remove lead. It does not keep every bit you are exposed to. Even at that, the half-life of lead diminishes over time in regards to its potency. Your metabolism is the largest factor in processing lead through the body. You also don't demineralize bones all at once. Often the process is as gradual as the lead intake initially was. Lead poisoning only happens after concentration passes a certain threshold, and even at that there are treatments for it. I have no idea if this is true, but in a documentary about the Rwanda genocide one of the people interviewed said a neighborhood would gather together and switch husbands every night. When attackers came at night and made fathers rape daughters or sons rape mothers, it wasn't as traumatic because it was your neighbor pretending to be your husband/father/son. The interviewees said they learned the practice from Nanking immigrants. A woman's cancer cells were preserved and found to be practically immortal. This led to a ton of discoveries and breakthroughs in the medical field. Her family still cannot afford their own medical bills and this was all done without their knowledge or consent. Edit, I had figured I'd just make a mini summary but this has gained a lot of views. Her name was Henrietta Lacks. She died in 1951 from cancer. She was black and very poor and didn't get great care in the hospital. A doctor had been looking for cells that lasted longer and harvested her cells, separating the cancerous and healthy cells. The healthy cells died while the cancer cells seemingly never stopped replicating. Her cells are named T-loss cells and have replicated so many times apparently they'd weigh a total more than 50 million metric tons. A pseudonym for her has been Helen Lane. She didn't know her cells were taken and neither did her family until way later. The family has been through a lot. If you want to know more, I highly suggest reading The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I couldn't put the book down. There apparently is also a movie about her life. Only about 1 in 10 cells in your body are genetically human. It's not your body. There are so many microorganisms living in and on your body that they vastly outnumber you. You are not mostly human, largely bacteria. Gross, right? Hell no. It's awesome. I am a walking ecosystem. Trillions of lives depend on me to survive. Trillions. I am their home, their planet. I could harm or help them on a whim. In turn they can kill me right back. Some may leave for other planets but most will live their entire existence with me. We are the people of me, and that's why it's cool I didn't shower today. What's extra fun is that prions can occur spontaneously. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease is one such illness. They can also be genetically inherited. Fatal familial insomnia is a genetic prion disease. The prions destroy your thalamus and you lose the ability to sleep. About 40 families in the world have the gene. Mad cow, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, is the only known case of prions jumping species. In humans it causes variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. But there is a prion sickness called chronic wasting disease in deer that could jump to humans at any time, and possibly already has. The good news is, most people appear to be immune to prions. But yeah, if you get it, you will 100% die, horribly and painfully. And quickly. As far as degenerative brain diseases go, there is no treatment and no cure. But that's mostly because it's so rare. Dolphins are evil. Like the love child of Jeffrey Dahmer and the Zodiac Killer, evil. They torture pufferfish because they get high off of the toxins, kidnap young dolphins, both female and male, from other pods to use as sex slaves, will rape anything with a hole, and the females release a jelly that has the potential to make most animals orgasm so hard they go into cardiac arrest and die. Fuck dolphins. Pun intended, because fuck you too. Vet tech here. Most of our older pets don't die of old age, they die of cancer. It sucks. Edit, adding what I answered in the comments up here because I think it's important. There's no way to prevent cancer. It's a mutation of cells. However, to keep your good boy or girl with you longer, some things that really make a difference: a quality diet. Please don't feed them the cheapest stuff. It's like humans eating the cheapest foods. Not terribly healthy, though it may fill all the nutritional requirements. All the regular vaccines. For the love of dog, make sure you get your puppies the parvo vaccine, and a good flea, tick and heartworm preventative. Exercise and not letting them become overweight, and regular dentals are even better. Edit 2. Also, screw you if you buy your vaccines for your domestic pets at the feed store or the Tractor Supply. Talking dogs and cats here, not large farm animals. Just because it's cheaper and has the same chemical name doesn't mean you're giving the right dose, amount, at the proper location, or getting the assurance that those vaccines have been treated and stored in the correct manner. You get what you pay for. Edit 3, added location to second edit. With our first kid, my wife made a lot of friends at baby classes. The first time I met one of them, she told us her birthing story. She had given birth and been sewn up, but upon going to the toilet afterwards she ended up screaming, "I'm shitting through my vagina," to get a nurse in there. Turns out, she'd actually torn in a way that the doctor was able to put his finger in one hole and have it come out the other. Lots of stitches afterwards and a lot of aftercare to make sure it healed. Crows are currently experiencing their stone age, but we will never see cool modern crows because we will be long gone before they reach the next stage. Edit, since people are asking. Basically, they have been creating tools which researchers are saying are actually more advanced than ones that early humans made. They also have been studied domesticating wolves. They hunt with them, sleep with them, and individual crows have been seen specifically bonding with individual dogs, like humans do with pets. The problem is we are genetically programmed to eventually die. Our telomeres get stripped every time our cells divide. It's an infinitesimally small amount, but eventually, our telomeres are completely stripped and continued cell division starts cutting into the chromosomes of our DNA. When that starts to happen, cells stop functioning properly. Red blood cells store, transport oxygen, energy less efficiently. Our immune system is less effective at fighting off, suppressing diseases, and our organs begin to struggle doing their jobs, and eventually everything starts to shut down either from hypoxia, infection, or systematic organ failure. The world will end and there is nothing anyone can do about it. When I say "and," I literally mean the Earth will cease to exist. It'll take a very long time, like another billion years or so. But eventually the sun will swallow the planet and erase all evidence that life existed if it doesn't still exist. That means every work of literature and art, every monument and statue, every building and historical sites, etc. Everything any human has ever or will ever do, make, or say will one day be wiped from existence. Our entire history as a species will just be gone. The oldest cave painting, every exploit any war hero endured and the reasons for it, the rise and fall of nations, our first steps on the moon, the internet, your lineage, all of it will be gone. It might as well happen the second you die because you won't be around for it. Assuming anyone will be. Looking at it that way, it'll happen at the end of your life. 20 years from now, maybe 50, tomorrow even, it'll all just be gone. In 2006, a team of scientific researchers in Iceland were gathering clams in order to study the effects of climate change. They froze the clams, which ended up killing them. They ended up killing the oldest known clam still left alive, nicknamed Ming, which was 507 years old. Edit, if you gave me an award for this, then fuck you. I literally googled sad fact and this was one of the first things to pop up. I don't give a shit about clams, I don't even really know what a clam is. I mean, it's not even same-day shipping anymore, only like ... really popular products that are overstocked at your nearest warehouse. I feel like we had peak shipping speed before, and now we're regressing again. That's right, where I live is exactly the same as everywhere else, and I am unwilling to take into account the location of other people in my assessment of shipping speed. In the U.S., a 12-year-old child can legally marry a 40-year-old man. Once married, sexual contact is legal, and if the child runs away to, say, a woman's shelter, being a minor means they cannot legally sign themselves in. So when the police get involved, they are returned to their legal guardian, for example their spouse, who is very likely the abuser they were trying to get away from. https://www.washingtonpost.com/wp/2017/02/10/ Why does the United States still let 12-year-old girls get married? https://www.independent.co.uk/news/world/americas/us/politics/Republican child marriage law repeal. David Bates, New Hampshire State Girls Boys 13 years old Girl Scout Project A77627776.html. https://www.newsweek.com/Idaho Congress blocks bill end child marriage 1,348,919. https://www.robertrevislaw.com/blog/12-year-olds married/ https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/child_marriage_and_the_United_States. The tinfoil hat stuff about the government spying on random citizens isn't as crazy as one might think. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/room_641A. When taken to court, Congress wrote a law that retroactively let it continue. Off the top of my head, for praying mantises during mating, the female will bite the head off of the male. Black widow, the male is tiny and will more than likely be eaten by the female. For queen bees, if two hatch at once, then they fight to the death. Also for a queen bee, the unfortunate male bee that mates with her will have his genitalia and abdominal tissue ripped from its body and then will die. There was a division of the Waffen-SS staffed entirely with psychopaths, rapists, murderers and child molesters who were so inhumanly brutal and cruel that they disgusted the SS leadership. If you fancy a real depressing and horrific read, look up the Erlwanger Brigade. Just bear in mind, these people disgusted the SS. Actual Nazis found them sickening. It was the Milgram experiment, where scientists had people go into a room where they conducted a survey to someone behind a curtain, and for every wrong answer the person gave they got a shock, and each shock got strong as more wrong answers came in. The shocks were fake and no one actually got hurt, but the person receiving the shocks was told to scream in pain when the shock was supposed to come in until the shocks were lethal, and they acted dead, and 2/3 of people, even under protest, went through with what they thought were actual lethal shocks to a person. The only prompting that the person giving the shocks was told when they protested was the scientists in lab coats saying, "Please continue the experiment." It was to study why so many people during the Holocaust allowed it to happen. The world heating up will cause ice caps to melt, which in turn will cause massive floods, lots of premature death, and possibly a reshaping of the land. I've also heard that there are some long-dormant viruses currently frozen in the ice, and when the ice melts, they'll be free. Humanity is currently divided on whether to do anything to mitigate the effects or continue letting corporations profit off destroying the environment. The biggest problem is that 1/2 of the world's population lives near the water. So when it rises, all these people are going to need to move inland. This mass migration will trigger wars. On top of that will be massive droughts and crop failure, leading to people fighting over water and food, as well as land. All this will happen over the next 90 years. With things really starting to pick up in 10.